everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Cuppa and Natter Series 3, right in the next chapter, with my very special guest, the footballing legend herself, Sue Smith. Sue, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me.
I'll tell you. Okay, so as a big football fan, I've kind of had to rein it in slightly with my attire for this Cuppa and Natter. So I'll say to you, if I had to choose, I would be wearing this, of course, which I wore for Karen Bardsley's episode in Series 1 of Cuppa and Natter. If my dad could choose, it'd be this one. But keep that well back. But through respect for yourself, I've kept it neutral. Honestly, I'm so excited for this. So thank you very much.
No worries at all. No, I like that. Maybe I think your dad's choice, I preferred that one, to be honest.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, the rumours of you choosing your loyalties from the other side of Merseyside is a little bit questionable, but we can have that debate a little bit later on in the episode. But as I said, one of the biggest footballing legends around, one of the greatest players to wear an England football shirt, in my opinion. And over the next 30 minutes, I look forward to picking your brains, not only in your career on the pitch, but obviously off of it as well. But to kick things off, I like to start every Cuppa and Natter episode with finding out what everyone wants to know about you, and that is how you like your tea. Okay, so I'm going to do that by asking you 5 quick fire questions, if that's all right. Okay?
Okay.
All right, okay. Question number 1, breakfast tea or herbal tea?
Breakfast tea,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, Twinings, Yorkshire or Earl Grey?
You know, I used to be a Yorkshire girl,
Right.
but now I'm a Twinings, so maybe I've gone up in the world.
Right, no,
You can't beat Twinings tea.
Yes, you've gone up in my estimations already, because I'm a big Twinings lover as well. I'm with you on that one.
Amazing.
Okay, question 3, plain digestive, chocolate digestive or a caramel digestive?
Chocolate digestive, I think.
Okay,
Got
again,
to be, yeah.
solid. Okay, looking back, which England teammate throughout your career are you most likely to have made a cup of tea for?
Oh,
Yeah.
now that's a really good question, actually. Do you know, most of my roomies didn't actually drink tea. So I'm thinking of like Jess Clark, didn't drink tea. I roomed with her for years. Rachel Yankee didn't drink tea. She drank hot chocolate, so I'd make her a hot chocolate. Do you know who it would be? Laura Bassett.
Yeah.
Laura Bassett loves a good brew. Yeah, she loves it, and she makes a really good cuppa as well.
She actually, is it a proper Yorkshire?
It probably would be. It'd be a strong cup of tea from Laura Bassett. So yeah, it'd probably be her. Yeah, I would say. I'm trying to think of any of the others.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of them were like, yeah.
We can take that one. Okay, so question 5, a little bit of a controversial one for me, but which England teammate are you most likely to share your chocolate digestive biscuits with? If anyone.
Biscuits with, yeah, that's got to be a good friend, hasn't it?
I mean, yeah.
Again, it would probably be those 3. I would say it would probably be Rachel Yankee. She's been like a real good mate of mine all the way through. Laura Bassett, again, another really good mate. Faye White would probably be in there as well. Get on with Faye, still chat to Faye. I've actually just had a message from Siobhan Chamberlain, Karen Bardsley. See, it'd be so hard because I've kept good mates with a lot of them. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Yanks. I think just because we've been friends we got into the England team together, and we've pretty much sort of grew up all the way through, and we're still really good mates now. So I'd probably say Rachel Yankee.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, from the sounds of things, you'd probably sound like a good, perfect roomie. From the sounds of things, you're going to make them a cup of tea and the whole biscuit sharing. I'm all for that. But okay, Rachel Yankee is a very lucky person, I must admit. But I appreciate no one really wants to know about the tea drinking, although it is quite interesting, of course. But I want to pick your brains on the illustrious career that you had on the football pitch. So you played for England 93 times, scoring 16 goals, which is a remarkable feat for a player. But if you were looking back now, like, what would you say is your proudest moment throughout your footballing career?
Do you know, I'd probably say, I think making my England debut. And I think that was just a case of, you know, from being a youngster, my dream was always to play football for my country. And I think I didn't actually think that I could. You know, I used to watch the men's football. So I used to watch, obviously, like I used to watch Everton, they were my team. And I used to watch England men. And I used to say, I want to do that. I want to play in front of a big crowd. I want to represent my country. But I didn't know there was actually an England women's team until I started to get a little bit older and realized that that actually was a possibility. So I think when I first pulled on my England shirt, so when I got called up, we had the old letter come through, and I just remember just being, I was 16 and I was just like, wow, this is just a dream come true. So I think when I first went out there and I came on as a sub, it was Kelly Smith came off and I came on for Kelly Smith, and I just remember just running around. We played against, it was Germany, so it was one of the best teams in the world. I remember just running around, just like, give me the ball, I just want to do something, like bit of a headless chicken. But yeah, just loved it, and actually scored on my debut. We lost, which wasn't the perfect debut, but scoring was nice. So I think probably that, just because it was a build up, you know, it's something I'd always wanted to do. And when you've actually achieved it, I think it really means something to you. And all my friends and family were there watching and stuff. So that was nice as well.
Yeah, I can imagine as well, like playing, I mean, for England is incredible, but playing and making that milestone at such a young age as well, did that kind of sink in, you know, at that age, at 16, where, you know, I've achieved something huge here? Did it kind of sink in for you?
No, probably not, because I think like the next day I was in school, so it was just back to normality, you know, back to like preparing for your exams. And you know, I remember like we had like an assembly, and the teacher sort of said, like, you know, Sue was like obviously represented a country, it's a big achievement. And I got like a big round of applause from all the kids, but it probably didn't at that time. And I think now it's so much better the way that England do things, the way that, you know, you don't literally go from playing club football straight into the international setup. You sort of have that progression. So you got like the under 15s, 17s, 19s, and you can progress through. So you sort of get used to playing international football, and you get used to the way that they want to play. You know, I was playing club football for Tranmere, and then suddenly playing international football was just like, God, this is completely different. You know, the fitness levels are different, the pace is different. I'm playing with women that are so experienced, so at least now they've got that progression to go through, I suppose. But yeah, it was great. And I don't suppose it sinks in until, I suppose, you finish your career and you actually look back and you go, wow, I was quite young when I made my debut.
It's I mean, for yourself as well, obviously you went on to play for England another 92 times, which is absolutely remarkable. But it's really interesting when you said that you'd always seen that as a goal. And going back to when you first started playing football, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got into the sport through your brother, is that correct?
Yeah.
And how was that in terms of, you know, you're seeing, you start playing football through playing with your brother, and I assume it'll probably be in a boys' team, and then the progress up until that time at the age of 16 where you're putting on the England shirt for the first time?
Well, I think like, because my he's 10 years older than me, so I remember I was like the annoying little sister that used to go along. He played for like the local boys team, and I used to just be hanging off him, you know, just like, can I come and play? And he was just like, go away, sort of thing. And then eventually I was 5, and I remember the manager said, she can join in, like she won't last because there's loads of like, it's just all lads, so she's not going to carry on, but she can join in if she wants. And yeah, I just remember loving it. You know, I didn't care that I was just playing football with boys, I just wanted to play football. And like, you know, my mum and dad used to take me to like dancing and gymnastics and things, and I'd just be like, this isn't for me, you know. I'd do it, but it was always football. So yeah, every Saturday morning I'd go down, whether it was raining or snowing, I'd be there. Like all the other lads would be probably at home going, I don't really want to play today, and I'd just be there waiting for the coach. So it's just, yeah, it's just something I've always enjoyed, I think. And even now, like I never officially retired, because I don't think I ever wanted to say I'd retired, I'd stopped, you know. Like I always wanted to think maybe there's a team out there that still want to take a 40-year-old. And you never know, you never know.
I'm going to put it out there. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a number of different teams out there that will snap you up straight away. I mean, I'd love to see you back on the pitch where you belong. But I suppose that kind of leads me on quite nicely to my second question. And based around this series, A Cuppa and Natter being writing the next chapter, so it's based on former athletes that have had just as much success in their careers after retiring, or, you know, stepping away from
Yeah.
and for yourself, you obviously spent your illustrious football playing career on the pitch, but now you spend most of the time talking about football as one of the, you know, most well-respected female pundits there is. What do you think in terms of over the last few years has been the proudest moment off of the football pitch that you've had?
I think probably sort of breaking into the media side of it, because all the way through my football career, if ever, you know, I was injured, or if ever I didn't play in like an FA Cup final, if ever I got asked to do media work, I always enjoyed it and I always did it. And it was probably something else that I wouldn't say I enjoy it as much as playing, because I don't think you can beat playing. I don't think you can replicate that buzz of going out there and competing. But it was something else that I got a real buzz from. You know, I got a little bit nervous beforehand. I had to do all my prep, and then when I actually did it, I sort of, you know, not, sounds a bit cheesy, you feel proud, but you actually think, yeah, that was really good, I enjoyed it. So I wanted to pursue that. So as soon as I finished playing, that was something that I thought, right, I want to do as much as I can. So I just did as many different things as I could. So, you know, I did quite a lot of work for Final Score, and, you know, went out to like do different radio stations. I did local radio. I did lots of, you know, like Liverpool TV, did bits for Everton, did bits for Man United, you know, so I did a lot of like the local stuff. And then I always watched Soccer Saturday. That was always something that I always had on in the background, and I always thought I'd love to do that. You know, I'd love to go out to the grounds and do the reporting, but the biggest thing would be I'd love to be in the studio. So I remember getting a call from, you know, Soccer Saturday, would I like to come and do a little bit of training and, you know, go out. And I watched Neil Mellor. So I went with Neil Mellor. He did his little bit. And I remember watching him thinking, wow, he's brilliant. And just picking his brains and asking him what he did and stuff. And he was great, so helpful. And then just started to do little bits like that. Like I did a couple of soccer specials. So I think when I first did my first Soccer Saturday, I was like, wow, this is what I wanted to do. You know, this is something that I've watched all the way through, you know, obviously playing. So actually to do it, and I had all the big guns on there. So I had like Phil Thompson was on there, Charlie Nicholas, Paul Merson. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is really scary. But again, they were lovely and really helped me and, you know, made me feel at ease and stuff. So yeah, so I think probably that, I think actually breaking into that Soccer Saturday thing, and because they had female reporters, but they hadn't had any female pundits before. So yeah, it's you'll know yourself, it's just breaking barriers down, isn't it? And I think once you've done something, it then opens an opportunity for somebody else to come through. So the more females covering sport, in my opinion, is brilliant, because I just think it gives a different perspective. And, you know, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter, as long as you can do your job. That's the most important thing.
I mean, I speak on behalf of many when I say that is exactly what you've done. You've broken down the barriers. You know, you turn on your Soccer Saturday on the weekend, then you are part of the furniture. You're there every single week. You're a fantastic job. But it's interesting you touch upon as well the impact of other people in the industry, and obviously their support and guidance. And obviously Neil Mellor, he played for West Ham, he played for Liverpool, top bloke by the sounds of things. Yeah. But looking back, obviously earlier on when you said you were doing a little bit of stuff, you know, when you're injured, for example, throughout your career, I suppose that's really interesting that you're using maybe the setbacks that you had on the pitch to good use and use your time wisely. Was that always kind of a consistent throughout your career, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, again, you'll know yourself with female sport, I think you always have to have something else. And I think that's always really important, that you don't know how long, not just in female sport, in male sport as well, you don't know how long your career is going to be. You don't know, you know, sort of how successful I suppose your career is going to be. You can work as hard as you can, but things can just happen. So I was quite lucky that, again, my parents supported me and made me do my exams. They made me go to university. They didn't make me, but they encouraged me to. I just wanted to play football, but they were saying, you know, you need something else just in case. So, you know, I did the whole, got a sports science degree. I enjoy that side of it as well. I enjoy like the fitness side, and so that would be another path that I would have gone down if the media hadn't worked. But it was something that, again, that was always my dream. If I could possibly go into the media, that was what I wanted to do. So every time, like say, if I was injured or had some sort of setback, I hadn't got to an FA Cup final, if they offered me to do some media work, I would do it. And I think you have to do that. I think throughout your career, you don't want to think about when you retire, but sometimes you have to think that, just to have a plan B, I suppose, just to have something else that you can seamlessly go into, rather than finishing and going, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? And I think that transition sometimes is so difficult for athletes. You know, when they finish, it's like, God, I've been a footballer, I've been a hockey player all my life. What am I going to do now? And it's losing that identity, I think. And, you know, even though I had media to go into, I still struggle with that. So you can imagine not having anything to go into, that would be quite hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. And it's something that I resonate with hugely, actually. It's one of those where you try and, as a current player right now, and obviously part of the GB setup, I'm all too aware that hockey doesn't last forever and that I'm trying to broaden my horizons as best I can. But I feel like you absolutely got that spot on throughout your career, obviously. And you touched upon, obviously, breaking down the barriers for other female pundits. And, you know, the likes of Jackie Oatley, who was the first match of the day commentator back in 2007, the legend that is. But now you turn on your TV screen every weekend and you see yourself, you see Karen Carney, Alex Scott. And do you see that, obviously, moving forwards? I'm going to go into kind of my third question here. Maybe in the next 5-10 years, is that probably the main thing that you'd like to see more of in football?
Definitely. I think in sport in general, and you mentioned Jackie Oatley, and you're right, she is an absolute legend. You know, what she has done for the game, you know, the fact she covered women's football when nobody covered women's football. You know, she was always there. She was always the one that was trying to push it and promote it. Brilliant presenter, brilliant reporter, and a great commentator. And she had to go through all of those tough times. You know, she got so much criticism, and it was only because she was a woman. It wasn't anything to do with what she'd done, because I thought she was fantastic. And she keeps going. She keeps trying to break those barriers down. Although she did say to me that you should have called it brew and a natter and not cuppa and a natter. That was the that was the only thing that she said to me. But she thinks this is brilliant. So yeah, I think Jackie's another person that she's done it before everybody, you know, so she was the first one to do anything. So yeah, she's a role model for me, you know, and I think a lot of girls. But yeah, in the future, it would be great to see more females just across the board. And I think, yeah, because it is still dominated by men, so trying to break into that can be difficult. But I think now the likes of Sky, the likes of BBC, they're very much open to more female pundits and reporters. And yeah, like I say, if you're good at your job and you do your homework, why not? Football's football. Same with hockey, isn't it? Men's hockey, women's hockey, yes, there's differences, but it's still hockey. And I think that's what people are starting to see now.
I think that's something that, you know, I think really strongly in terms of, you know, you've spent years on the football pitch playing at the highest level. You know your stuff. It shouldn't be a barrier, you know, depending on what gender you are. It should just be you deserve to be there, and that's that. And especially, you know, with the women's game in this country growing so much that it is right now. Obviously, we had the women's football weekend at the weekend just gone, and more games are being seen on the TV. Do you think that actually women's football is going in the right direction now?
It is, and I think we all worried about, obviously, like when COVID happened, that I think we worried for men's football, the lower leagues, but we also worried for women's football, what's going to happen with that, because they're on this upward trajectory. And then with a lot of like financial difficulties at the moment for everybody, you just thought, will that have a bit of a setback for women's football? But at the moment it seems to be going okay. And I think around the world, I think there's a lot of difficulties, but the Women's Super League and the Championship are certainly flourishing. I think when you look at some of the players that have come over to the Women's Super League, I don't think we expected to get all these World Cup winners and superstars coming over to our league and wanting to come over. And you can see the standard of play. You can see, like, Women's Football Weekend, I think, so important to just highlight the game again. And hopefully you get different viewers, maybe viewers that have never watched women's football before, and they go, oh, actually, I've quite enjoyed that. I'm gonna you know, watch it again. And it's just such a shame we couldn't have had fans in the stadiums, because when they did it last time, the amount of fans that came was unbelievable, and it showed that there is an interest, there is a passion for women's football. And I just think, you know, if we could get to a point where, if you're a Liverpool fan, you support the men's team, you support the women's team, you support the youth team, it's just one team. And, you know, that would be fantastic if we could eventually get to that point that you're just a Liverpool fan, you're just a Manchester United fan, you're not, you know, you only support the men, you only support the women. It'd be great if it can be just a real collective, and that's where we'll start getting more people through the gates and wanting to watch the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's one of those, as you said, the game is growing. You've got more interest both on the screen, obviously seeing games on the TV every single week. But does that kind of make you, as a, you know, ex-footballer, want to kind of get back in there? Does that kind of make you think, oh, I wish it was like this back in the day when you were doing your thing?
Do you know, I'm sort of mixed with this. I would love to still be playing now, and sort of you see the progression of the game, and you see everything that's come into the game now. And the girls have everything, particularly in the Women's Super League. I think in the Championship that's still progressing, and you know there's 2 or 3 teams that are full time. The rest of them are still semi-pro. So that would be the ideal, to have Championship and Women's Super League full time professional. I think that's what they ideally want. But at the same time, I've loved my career. You know, I feel like I've seen both sides. So I've seen having to work and having to play and train full time, trying to balance the two, which is difficult. Again, I'm sure you sort of know about that, where you can, I don't know, I used to go to uni sort of 9 till 5, and I'd be training before uni, I'd be training after uni, I'd be getting in bed at 11 o'clock, and then the day starts again the next day. You have like literally no social life, but you don't care, because you want to do those two things, and you just have to balance your time. So, you know, I've seen that and I've struggled with that, but then I've been really lucky that I've also played full time. So I've been a full-time athlete where I can literally just focus on my football and, you know, my games at the weekend again, which is fantastic. And that's again another dream. You know, when you're young, you want to be a full-time professional athlete. So yeah, I'm quite lucky that I've seen both sides, I suppose. So I haven't been spoilt, which is quite nice.
I think it's so interesting, because as you said, you have seen it from both sides of things, but at the moment we're reaping the rewards in terms of women's football in this country right now. But actually it's the credit where you guys paved the way for the current generation to have that, you know, pleasure kind of to call football their professional job day in, day out. And actually, you know, it's not happened overnight. It's through years of hard work and determination from a number of different people, but the people like yourself who have kind of worked hard and put women's football on the map. And hopefully, as you said, over the next few years in particular, women's sport and women's football will continue to grow and thrive on our screens, and obviously getting fans in the stadium as sooner rather than later. But it's really interesting. I could talk to you about that honestly all day. I find it fascinating, but I'm a bit wary of the time, and I've got a few final quick fire fun fact questions for you, if that's all right. Okay.
Yeah, love them.
So just as a background, the previous 2 series of Cuppa and Natter, I've done it on Instagram Live, and I've got social media questions in from viewers, and it's worked really well. But this time I've got my own questions. If you get it right, you get it wrong, we just roll with it and we see where it goes, okay?
Oh dear.
I've had mixed success over the last few episodes, so we'll see how we get on. Okay, question number 1, I reckon you'll get this. How many times did you win the nationwide International Player of the Year award, and what years?
I think I won it twice.
That's it.
Oh God, what were the years? I want to say 2000.
Yeah, that's one.
Is that one? 2000 and maybe 2. Was it consecutive? 2001, 2002.
Go back. 99. No. 2000.
Oh, 99. Honestly, that's so bad, isn't it?
It's incredible though. Like, in terms of, you're obviously part of a team sport, but the personal accolades along the way. I mean, winning International Player of the Year, that must have been a special thing for yourself, and not only winning it once, twice as well.
That was nice. That was really nice. Yeah, I think, yeah. The other one was the player's player. I think that it didn't mean more to me, but I think when, you know, your fellow peers are voting for you, I think that really, yeah, I was really proud of that one. I think that was definitely one that I was like, yeah, this is the one that I really wanted. So yeah, I enjoyed both of those awards, definitely.
I mean, okay, so another one. Not many people can say that they have scored a hat-trick for their country, okay, but you have done so. You did so in March 2001 versus Spain, but what was the final score?
No. Do you know, I thought you were going to say, who was it against? I was like, oh, I know that it's against Spain.
Yeah.
Oh, no, what was the final score? This is so bad. I don't even remember what I had for my breakfast yesterday. Never mind. Thinking back so long.
Can you remember what you had for breakfast? important.
Okay. Was it 4-1?
Oh, smashed it. Yeah.
Was it? What a guess.
Yeah.
That was a great guess.
Can you remember the game? Can you remember it well?
Not at all.
No.
Do you know, the only thing I can remember is the goals, and that's just because it was on. I had like a little sort of like motivational DVD that I used to take to schools. So somebody got all like my goals and like little skills and things. So I used to put that video on before I spoke. So I can remember the goals. That's about it.
Just through that.
So bad.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what happens when you score too many goals in your whole career, isn't it, really?
Oh, I don't know about that. I should have scored more. Definitely should have scored more.
I wish I had that. Okay, you've done well there. Okay, so another one. In May 2009, you were one of how many female footballers to be given central contracts by the FA?
This is either 18 or 20, because I know it went up. Or is it more? Is it more than that? I'm going to go 18. Is it 18?
So close, 17.
Oh, no. I remember it went up the next year. 17. Right.
Isn't
Close.
it crazy, though, to think back, only 17 players were given, you know, central contracts back then, and obviously looking at the professionalism of the game now, how much has changed?
Oh, no. And it was massive at the time. I think when they told us that that's what they were going to do, so they were going to sort of pay us to play, it was just like we were all absolutely made up, you know, because it was something that we'd never had before. So we might have had a little bit through our club, but then to have an actual central contract and be part of that, yeah, it was great. But yeah, now you look at it, it was nothing, but it was the start of something. So yeah, Hope Powell actually was really sort of pivotal in getting that. You know, I know she had to really fight to get us a central contract. So she did brilliant to do that and help us out. And it just suddenly meant we didn't have to work as much. You know, we were like, we could just drop some of our hours because we actually had this money coming in, which enabled us to train a lot more, which then enabled us to be better and fitter and compete with the better team. So yeah, it was a great start, but couldn't remember how many of us there were.
That was a valid guess. Okay, final one. This isn't really a question because we both know who the best side in Merseyside is. It's the Mighty Reds, and that is the end. I'll send you a shirt in the post.
I can't have a comeback, can I?
To be fair, in the women's game last night, we don't mention that score, but yeah, it's the Reds. But in all seriousness, 30 minutes is nearly up. My mug of tea is pretty much empty. I can't say I've finished, but thank you so much, Sue, for being so generous with your time. I honestly really appreciate it. I've loved speaking to you.
Oh, no worries at all. No, it's been great. It's been really good fun.
No, absolutely. It's been so interesting, obviously reminiscing both your time on the football pitch and off it. My next guest, for everyone else listening, will be revealed on Sunday at 6 p.m. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But in the meantime, keep that kettle boiled, keep nattering using #CuppaandNatter, and I'll see you again, same time, same place on Monday. Thank you so much. Cheers, Sue.
Yes, thank you.